This woman, she writes this about her boyfriend. She says, he believes himself to be a genius. How do I tell him that he very much isn't? Should I even tell him? It's like, why do you even want to do that? Maybe he is acting arrogant, or he's like gloating, or he's being cocky or whatever, and you have that emotional reaction. But it's like, who told you that you couldn't be a genius, or who told you that you couldn't be whatever you want in your life? It's like, well, what is a genius? Just somebody that basically sticks with something pretty much for their whole entire life and they become masterful at it. And it's like, just because you think you have this limiting belief on yourself is, oh, that's impossible to become a genius. And anyone who thinks they're a genius thinks they're a badass. And that's, it's basically just like a put down to them. And it's an anchor in this relationship. And you're acting as this person's enemy, not their ally. You're not bringing them up. And it's like, in relationships, you want to be with partners that lift you up, that encourage you in your dreams. Maybe this guy has a dream to be a genius in this particular field. And instead of supporting him and saying, yeah, I really appreciate, that's so awesome that you have this dedication, that you're so focused and so determined to really improve yourself in this area. Instead, you're saying, who are you kidding? It's like, why don't you just rationalize or look at the reality of the situation? It's like, we disguise fear as practicality. And so it's like, right now what she's doing is, because she's afraid herself, it's like, oh, she believes somebody told her, or she got it in her head that, oh, I can't be great, or I can't be a genius. And so now she's trying to basically, because she doesn't believe she can do that, she's trying to bring other people down. And I don't think it's negative towards like her intention behind it, because it's like, she truly thinks that she's solving him or saving him from pain or disappointment. But it's like, who is she to say something like that and bring him down and just be like a hater, if you will? Um, so let's read some of this post. So she's 23, and I guess it's about her friend. It's a friend who's 25. I know that this might sound mean, but he is not very smart. That is so dumb of you to say. Honestly, you're telling somebody else that they're dumb. It's like, you're dumb for that. It's like, look at some of the most successful people in the world and look at their IQ scores. It's not about intelligence. It's about that heart, that drive, that perseverance. And it's like, right now you're just being someone that is just trying to put him down, and that's really not cool. It's like, I really wouldn't want friends like that, and I wouldn't want to be in relationships like that, because you want an ally, not an enemy. Your dreams and your mission is hard enough without somebody just sandbagging you and being this dead weight that's just hanging on to you and clutching at you just to basically hold you back, instead of somebody that's just like running beside you, that's encouraging you. It's like, who do you really want to be with? He's one of those people who think that FE understanding the jokes in Rick and Morty makes him some sort of intellectual, and over the time I've known him, he has always acted as if he was mentally above me. And so that could be a negative trait on his part, that he's kind of looking down and seeing himself as superior. And sometimes treats me as if I'm stupid for disagreeing with him. Now, this might be more of her reasoning as well, that basically she feels like he is looking down on her and it doesn't make her feel good, and so she's lashing out on him. Something he has done over the last 2 years. And so what is she doing? How is she kind of structuring this? Well, she's structuring it based on how she's feeling in past moments. So she's bringing up things in the past that made her feel a certain way, how he acted and it made her feel a certain way. Let's check them out. She's got 5 of them here. He got an ad on YouTube for a science channel that went along the lines of, stop, you are getting this ad because the YouTube algorithm has categorized you as above average in intelligence. He, of course, believed it and now is watching that channel almost religiously. Well, maybe he actually does have a belief. Maybe he has been considered really not intelligent, but he has this belief in him. And now he's finding, like, what you believe, you will find, whether it's the reality or not. And so whether this is just a BS ad and it's obvious to you that it's a BS ad, maybe in his mind it's not, or he's using that as a way to kind of justify and build basically another leg to his belief that he actually is smart. But the interesting thing is like optimistic people like that, even though they might be lying to themselves, they still get better results than pessimistic people. And often because it's like they just keep going, and they keep pursuing what they want. And now look what the outcome is. Because of that ad, because he believed that he could be smart or he could be a genius, that he found basically a way to get him to some science channel that's educational, that makes him grow. And now he's watching this religiously and he's improving himself religiously. I mean, look at the benefit of that. Don't just degrade him or think that he's stupid, because he's finding ways that he can basically support his belief that he's smart. And it's like, look at the actual results that happen because of that. And now look where he's at. Now he's improving every day. So it's like, you kind of have to decide, what mindset do you want? Do you want that pessimistic, as, oh, that'll never work, or, oh, he thinks he's so smart, or do you want one that's like, or have a more optimistic, it's like, I am smart, and look at this, it's like a dumb reason, it's like this ad, but it's like, oh, I have that excitement, it's like, yes, and now that motivates me. So it's like, which one do you want? Which mindset do you want? Which mindset would you want to be around? Number 2, he has insisted that he knows more about psychological specifics of my own phobia than I did. So he definitely could be pointing these things out that piss you off. And maybe he does. Maybe he actually does know more, but it's like, if you do approach this, it's going to have an emotional reaction that's more like combative. And so I get where this is kind of a mistake in communication from his part. Number 3, he is adamant that he can hear 5G, because ever since it has been announced that we'd be getting in our area, he's had this ringing in his ear, which most definitely are the 5G rays and not tinnitus. That's hilarious, but it's like, okay, I get where you're coming from. It's so over the top that it's like you want to put him in his place. This is definitely out there. So basically the beginning part of this, I was kind of in the realm of he's more optimistic. He's definitely taking this over the top. And so I could see where you're coming from in this. Let's continue, see if we can get some more insights. Number 4, he tried to explain to me how he is smarter than me for already being VACCED, vaxxed against the big C, coronavirus, while I am not, while completely disregarding that he got vaxxed first because he was higher priority than me due to his job. So this guy does seem he might be a pain in the ass to deal with. In his mind, he got there first. It's almost just like funny, comical almost. It's like one of those situations where it's so ridiculous that you might just not even take him seriously at all. And so my mood on this post is really shifting from the beginning on like the pessimistic versus optimistic. I still do believe that it's really important to be more optimistic if you want to go far. But this is just kind of getting funny on how extreme he's taking it. He got there first because he was smarter and planned better than me. I am a big science nerd, and he feels the need to argue about everything I need in regards to any scientific topic. Obviously, I am not a professor by any means, but I do have some knowledge about the things I am obsessed with, FE, genetics, and especially history. He tried to convince me that the Salem witch trials were worse and had more casualties than witch trials in Europe because Europe didn't even actually burn witches. This just sounds like a heated argument that's just like totally ridiculous, but like funny at the same time that the two of you could laugh about. And in this sense, it could, if you could basically interpret this in like a humorous way, you might actually be able to kind of salvage a friendship out of this, just for like the mere entertainment aspect. I really don't know how to handle this. I am sure that he doesn't do this out of malice, or at least I want to believe that he doesn't. If we're meeting up again once I am vaccinated, I want this to change. Yeah, I mean, good luck trying to change him, and it's probably not going to work for you. It's like if you can kind of just interpret this as just a humorous thing and so ridiculously out there, like him hearing 5G and things like that, that you don't take it too seriously, that might actually just help your outlook as well. I don't care if he thinks of himself as a genius, but I want him to stop arguing with and correcting me constantly. I mean, it's his personality, seems like, so it's going to be pretty tough for you to do. So, I mean, your options are to either change him, which will be very difficult and probably won't work for you, or to just kind of change your perception and just look at the ridiculousness and humor of the situation and handle it like that. How do I do this without being insulting? I mean, you probably just don't want to do it. You probably just don't want to try to change somebody, because it's like it's either going to build up resentment or resistance, and it's probably just not going to work out very well. And usually it's like, well, when we try to instruct our friends, that's usually one of the things that gets us in trouble with our friends, meaning that they don't want to spend time with us anymore. So just be careful on trying to correct people. It's like we like to observe the truth in other people. So it's like I make this show and I basically point out a lot of things where people are going wrong. But it's like people seemingly like to observe the truth in other people, because it's like it can be funny, it can be shocking, and they can learn some things. But it's like when it's about them, it's like their emotions are involved. Sometimes people say like basically get identified with their problems, and it's like I don't know. It's in my mind, it's like I see it just as patterns, not as you are broken or it's like you are bad because of this. It's just like a pattern you're running. That you can easily switch and easily change and easily just observe from a distance. That way you can just objectively look at it and basically interrupt that pattern and create a new one that leads to a more beneficial result as far as what's in your mind on what you want as far as success. But it's just kind of dangerous to correct somebody in person or as the individual, or say you're wrong, I'm right kind of deal. He is really sensitive and I don't want to be too hurtful, and obviously saying you're actually really stupid would be rather rude. Yeah, but it's just like this seems like a person that you just like laugh with, playfully dispute and argue and just like playfully get heated with each other. I've had people like this in the past that just have like really extreme outlooks, and then you kind of joke. It's like sometimes they recognize how extreme they are, and it's like when you can just not take them so seriously or not get upset at them and just have fun with them, then it's like, well, they recognize that they're taking it way to the extreme as well, and then they laugh with you, and it just creates kind of a fun atmosphere. Um, Sometimes it can be too much, especially if it's happening with somebody, like if you're seeing them every day. But this might be just some person that you see, every once in a while and you have a joke with and laugh with, and can dispute scientific topics with. But that's the approach I would take. I wouldn't try to correct this person.